Hi, everyone. We are the event team, and our organization is the Coding Geckos LLC. All right, so our company's journey began in 2022 when we formed a group, but we were formally established in 2023 with myself, CEO Alexander Kupek. Our goal for our journey was to create an app that allowed to bridge the gap between amateur and professional level advertisement, and to empower the individuals to advertise at little to no monetary expense. And this was, yeah. So our team, I, Alexander Kupek, am the CEO and squad lead, as well as the development manager. Here we have Alex Stump. He is our product manager, COO, and residential agent. And then our other development team is Tyler Sen, Peter Cow, and Jonathan Swoboda, who are also developers as well as part owners. So for our process, we're going to be talking about how we started with our brainstorming sessions, and then our time development event, and then later on go to the company creation, and then values, highlights, and things gained from our journey. So starting off with our brainstorm event, we worked with partners at Don't Panic Labs, where we went through a number of brainstorming of concepts, ranging from potential video games ideas that we had, as well as a pet matcher, helping find new owners with animals in animal shelters, as well as a dating app called Opposites Attract, which would be people partner up with people based on things that they didn't like and would disagree on and hopefully bond over. We worked with Don't Panic Labs member Brian Zimmer, and with all of these ideas, we went through the process considering marketability, profitability, feasibility within our time constraints of only 9 months, as well as any potential competition. And then, so with event, we had a problem and opportunity. The problem that we had is that we wanted to involve the community and help publish a large range of events. And we didn't know exactly the best way to do that. And so while we were brainstorming options, a thing that came up and we thought was notable was Pokemon Go. A couple years ago, Pokemon Go had a massive soar in player base, as well as people who were using it. And we thought maybe if we took inspiration from that, we'd be able to have not only an intuitive platform as well as visual style. So for our stakeholders, we have people who are advertisers, people who have events or businesses that they would like to advertise. Additionally, we have event planners, people who want to get involved with their local community, as well as event goers, people who want to get involved with their local community but might not know events all around them. And so we started by doing market research for event, as well as our other ideas. We went to the union and had a stand where we had a Google Forms questionnaire of a number of questions, and then from that data, we had a numerous of pie charts, as you can see here. Went back to Don't Panic Labs, talked with Brian about each of our options, and we ultimately concluded that we wanted to move forward with event. And so with building event, for our back end, we had a SQL server which was hosted by one of our developers, and additionally, we had our API also hosted by another one of our developers. With the API, we were able to use the Google Maps API, as well as have account creation, authorization, as well as the architecture set for making events, hosting events, as well as validation for them. For the front end, we use Xamarin Forms. Xamarin Forms is a Microsoft platform in C# and .NET for creating Android and iOS solutions as a shared common layer. And then lastly, we have screenshots, both for creating events on the first one. Then we have an event list if you would prefer it in a list view. Then we have the map with pins with a little pop-up of which each events have. And then if you were to click on that, you can see a full blown up screen of what the event would, with options to go back to the list as well as to attend the event. Next, I'll be giving it to Alex Sump to talk about company creation.
All right, I'll take over from here. So forming the Coding Geckos LLC was a big step for us as a company. We wanted to actually legitimize ourselves and kind of have that whole experience. A couple steps here. I registered myself as our resident agent, which means if we ever get sued or if we ever have any kind of legal issues and representation, I'll be the figurehead for that. Our second step was sending our certificate of organization to the Nebraska State Secretary. This did a couple of things for us. It registered where we operate from, my apartment. It registered that I would be the front of it, that would be a member-owned LLC, and kind of when we would start. The next step was publishing a notice of publication with the Lincoln Journal Star. We had to publish ourselves once a week for 3 weeks. That was probably the longest portion of it. And then from there, we signed our operating agreement. This really gave us how we would operate as a company, how our members would work, initial fees, company conduct, and company titles to establish us as part owners, me as COO, and QPEC as CEO. We also then received our certificate of good standing, which established us as all reasonable and working under the law. Further steps would probably be creating a bank account under the name and establishing for an EIN, but we don't think we're at a part of the company where we need to be doing that. These are just kind of some screenshots. This is what was sent in the Lincoln Journal-Star under our name, my apartment address, my name, and the Coding Geckos LLC, as well as a operating agreement signatures. This is the certificate of good standing, saying we were duly formed on the 9th of February, 2023, and we are all up to date on our paperwork. So to get into the values, highlights, and future of the project. Unfortunately for the future, we will be dissolving the Coding Geckos LLC to pursue our own individual goals and jobs as developers elsewhere at the end of college. The code base itself will be handed over entirely to Alexander Kupek. He is the idea man of the process. He created it, and he's the CEO, and he'll be taking Coding Geckos LLC and Event with him. However, this does not mean we didn't have a whole lot of values and highlights to draw from this. The idea process, we learned a lot about the factors that go into a successful business. Through the development process, we learned a new tech stack and how to work collaboratively with no oversight. And I'm just realizing we talked about this. When you become your own company, all your successes are your own. All your failures, all your own, and all your typos are your own on your own slides. Through the company creation process, we learned how to pursue entrepreneurial ventures legally and how to navigate all that paperwork required. So while we will be dissolving, I mean, most people's first LLCs don't take off. And this was a very, very good first step into that sphere. With that, I'd like to thank you all for listening. And that is Event. We are the Coding Geckos LLC.